My father is a hand-drawn special effects fanatic. Half of the apartment is filled with books about animation and other half with every possible animated movie. Father had ancient, fully restored Fiat 126. They sell them on eBay for 10,000 bucks. You're not gonna believe it. He drove it to the countryside and set it on fire to record fire references, and then he even calls firefighters on his own to record how the fire is being extinguished. They detained him for 24 hours and fined him 10k for intentionally causing a fire threatening the life and health of a nearby village and a state forest. He claimed that he would earn so much on the new commission that he would buy half of this village for it. Since the old man discovered that the entire animation industry is working on Toon Boom, he watches all the tutorials over and over and tries to convince everyone on the internet that this software is superior to others. He even set up his Discord and brainwashes those teenagers who can't even afford Mr. Beast chocolate bars to buy a software for 150 bucks a month because it's such a great career. He spends his days on social networks and makes a shitstorm about the best software and praises its capabilities. He can yell at the monitor for hours, and once he even threw a brand new tablet out of the window because someone on his Discord asked how to render an animated video without a background in Adobe Animate. Once, when my father pissed me off, I set up Discord account and sent animation of bouncing ball on twins made in Adobe Animate for feedback in his community. Mom had to take him to Disneyland because he was so angry that his face turned purple for a week. My father makes us go to the cinema with him every weekend to watch an animated film as a part of a cultural education. He is able to sit through about half of the movie just muttering something quietly, but only until... As soon as he sees a crappy special effects, he stands on a chair and explains the laws of universal gravity and starts to derive formulas for the force of gravity, elasticity, water viscosity, etc. They don't let him into one of the cinemas anymore because once when my mother was on a business trip and I was sick at home, he went to see a movie alone, and later in the newspaper they wrote that some guy went crazy during the screening and started snatching drinks out of people's hands, spilling them left and right, shouting, "Stop watching this and look at how water should look like." For 2 years, until the end of my primary school, on every single recess, every single day someone was spilling water on me for the purpose of education. If there are no movie premieres in normal cinemas and he has already watched everything 5 times, he will always find some weird place where they play, as he calls it, some independent films, and only there he is able to unleash hell. Ever since he was on probation for beating up an artist who had the misfortune of showing up to promote his own film, he doesn't get up from his chair during the screening, but there is not a single scene where he wouldn't scream about, "What clown was able to release this and not be ashamed of it?" When my father says that we will watch a movie together at home the very next day, it's the worst. You know, a day when the family spends time together and maybe we learn something along the way. Yeah, it's a really wonderful day. You can see that it's this movie because my father is totally crazy a week before the screening. He orders some boxes with figurines and clothes from the movie and totally changes the decor of the apartment as it was fucking Halloween. And we walk on eggshells because of course you can't touch anything. He gets up earlier to get ready, changes into the main character and then wakes us up for breakfast before 7. Yes, this is the only event when the father makes us breakfast, but probably only so that we forgot about the pain that's coming shortly. We sit in front of the TV around 8 and start watching. I don't know how long it takes you to watch a 90-minute animation, but it takes my father at least 8 hours to analyze every single detail. I remember that once the preparations lasted a whole month because the animation was supposed to be insane, Akira. My father was so out about this movie that he foamed at the mouth when he talked about it. He even brought that red futuristic motorbike with his neighbors to our living room on the 3rd floor, which took them half a day to watch a whole movie sitting on it. Apparently, he borrowed it from some collector for 1 day for 3,000 bucks. Can you imagine? Akira lasts over 2 hours and we spent 18 hours on this couch because you can't move until the movie ends. Mom fell asleep at the beginning of the father's first hour-long argument about some explosion, and I actually watched a little because the movie is interesting, but for how long can you watch 1 second of animation? My father flew from the computer to the TV every now and then because he had to check something and take notes. 18 hours. A beautiful family day. Best family ever. Once he managed to get into an animation school as a teacher because he thought that there was a lack of good animators in our country, and this was the only way he was able to change it. He even managed to get over the fact that students use different software and animation techniques, but they kicked him out because when he calls someone to answer, he was rewarding the students with a row of the worst grades, one for every wrong answer to a question. The record holder got 27 in 5 minutes, listing 12 animation principles, and when his father appeared in school, he yelled at him in front of everyone, shouting that instead of showing his kid old Disney feature films, he probably fed the some shit from Netflix, and that's irreversible. I remember when I turned 6 and wanted to watch a cartoon, my father went to the attic and brought a big dusty box with a VHS player and some VHS tapes. He plugged it in and made me watch the entire Disney filmography until I was able to list all the characters in each movie from memory. My mom was on a 5-day business trip to Finland at the time, but she made quite a fuss when she came home and it turned out that I had never been to kindergarten. My father's only argument was that I had to watch 101 Dalmatians 37 times to finally learn all the names of the dogs. If there were a VHS player throwing competition, my mother would be a champion. You can't even go shopping with him because every single time he picks up a product, he makes fun of all the labels from shitty fairy tales and screams volume that it's more harmful than GMO because you can get eye cancer in 3 seconds. Everyone stares at him, and instead of shutting up, my dad changes the subject and picks up his smartphone, trying to convince everyone to watch Atlantis, The Lost Empire, because it's the best hand-drawn animated feature film ever made. Once, we went on holiday to the mountains in the summer, and my father took a huge backpack with batteries and equipment to record his references. I remember we went to the Valley of 5 Ponds, and halfway through, my dad told us to go without him because he would be recording some waterfalls for the commission he has and would come back later. Of course, we knew that our further trip would be without my father, and he would probably come later to the hotel alone, so we shrugged it off and enjoyed the trip in peace. In the middle of the night, mountain rescue team used a helicopter to rescue him from a tree on the Slovak side of the border because he reportedly saw a bear in the evening and ran away for 4 hours and then climbed the tree and lit the flares calling for help. We always get in trouble when we get out, and everyone recognizes our family from a distance, and we usually have to leave every spot in 15 minutes right before the police arrive, because of course my father is screaming at everyone. But overall, my dad is really good at his craft, and he tells everyone that at least there is some Paul in the credits of these foreign animated movies, and we should be proud of it. Subscribe to my channel if you like what I'm doing. If it was good, like this video and share it. Thank you so much for watching and see you on the next one. Cheers!